Remember, this is not on me, this is on the Twitch chat, and the only starting point that I gave them was that I wanted to build some budget gaming PCs around these XFX Red and Black RX 460s that I panic bought at the beginning of the GPU shortage. Now you may instantly notice that those GPUs aren't even in our final build here, and that's because not one, but both of these XFX RX 460s that I got off AliExpress were actually broken the whole time and we didn't even know it. But thankfully, I also panic bought this all black Sapphire RX 460, and this one works perfectly fine. To go along with that 460, during the live stream, we actually couldn't find too many budget Ryzen deals, so we ended up settling on this Ryzen 5 1400 from AliExpress for $77. Now $77 for that CPU specifically isn't anything to write home about, but remember, by buying a cheap Ryzen CPU like that, it allows us to buy a super cheap B450 or any AM4 motherboard, and we can also use these stock Ryzen CPU coolers and then paint them, and that's exactly what we did. I've explained this so many times already, but painting these just looks so good, and I highly recommend that you do it for ultra budget builds like this. Now, if you want to be a bit of a baller, you could use something like this DeepCool AK620, and it's actually the sponsor of today's video. Coming in at an MSRP of $69.99, this is DeepCool's latest crack at a true high-performance air cooler, and it's packing a ton of value. The AK620 can provide up to 260 watts of heat dissipation, it's super quiet yet remaining powerful, and that sleek modern design is something you know people like me appreciate. The two included PWM fans not only look clean, but can also perform. The heatsink comes packed with 6 heat pipes, and the 3-year warranty ensures that you can trust it for years to come. Check out the DeepCool AK620 for yourself by visiting that first link down in the description. Moving on to the motherboard, I already had this ASRock B450 Pro 4, which I paid just $41 for off Amazon Warehouse, and it's perfect for a budget build like this. Our CPU motherboard combo costs just $118, and that's obviously really tough to beat for any modern budget build right now, so we're off to a great start. The good value definitely continues into the RAM. Well, kind of. This is a Team Group 3000 MHz super sexy red and black kit that I'm going to guess I only paid $10 for. Hopefully you've seen me explain this before, but about a month ago I paid $300 for a crazy box of parts from somebody, and it included things like an RX 570, RX 560, Ryzen 7 3700X, a 2400G, 2 motherboards, 2 sets of RAM, a power supply, and even more. Based off of everything I got in that box, I'm just gonna guess that I only paid about $10 for this RAM kit, but honestly, because of how good the value was on everything else, I probably paid even cheaper than that. The one major problem with this RAM kit, however, is that it's only a 2x4GB kit and not 2x8GB, and nobody freak out on this one, but this is definitely the first time that I've only put 8GB of RAM into a system for probably 2 to 3 years now. I obviously don't recommend anybody purposely build a system with just 8GB of RAM. Definitely try to go up to 16, but since I couldn't find this same exact kit to add 2 more sticks to it, I thought this would just be a perfect budget build to actually get rid of these RAM kits, so we just left it at 8. It'll be fine for today, but if you are trying to copy this as a build guide, then definitely try to go with 16GB. One thing to note, however, is that we may not actually even see a huge bottleneck here. The Ryzen 5 1400 and RX 460 combo isn't going to be getting super high frame rates or game on super high settings or anything, so the 8GB of RAM may not actually even be a big issue, but we'll find out soon during the benchmarking run. Before that though, we got to continue through this parts list, and next up we have this Toshiba 512GB NVMe drive that was pulled out of a Dell XPS laptop, and I actually sniped this during the live stream for just $38. This was one of those times where if you see the deal, you just gotta pull the trigger right away, and for an ultra budget build like this, it's a pretty solid choice. Same thing with the case, honestly. This here is the DIY PC ARGB Q8-BK, and I've been getting a ton of requests from members of our Discord community to check this thing out. You can go to zackstechdrift.com/discord, by the way, to join us. This Q8-BK has been consistently going on sale down to $45, and because it's micro ATX, has a PSU cutout for some vinyl action, it's all black, and even has some RGBs up here at the front and in the back with the single fan, this is definitely packing some serious value. To be honest, I actually really like the way this looks too. I'm not a fan of how that front panel looks when it's showing RGB puke colors like on the website, but when you set it to just a solid color like white in this instance, or even red for a build like this, it actually looks pretty clean, and you don't have to add any more RGBs to the entire build in my opinion. Moving on, we get to the power supply, and this is just an EVGA 450BT, which is obviously not a great power supply choice, but since I got it in that $300 box of parts, it was honestly kind of free, and this system just allows me to honestly get rid of it. After that, we have some aesthetic accessories, which you know I always got to throw into the mix. First up, we have these fun tin cable extensions. I always recommend going with Asia Horse, but I do like to experiment with other cables, and these were a tad bit cheaper at the time of buying, and they do look pretty solid in my opinion. And finally, we also decided to add one of those black M.2 heatsinks just to hide the ugly PCB color of the SSD, and this way it looks much cleaner inside. All in all, here's what the final parts list is looking like, and as you can see, the Twitch chat did pretty good here. We ended up paying just $326 for everything inside the build, including the aesthetic only parts, and that's honestly not too shabby for the current state of the market, inflation, and dare I say, this PC actually looks pretty solid even if it was a much more expensive build. Now, before getting into the benchmarks, it's important that we tame our expectations. As a $300 build only rocking a first generation Ryzen chip, 8GB of RAM, and an RX 460, we are not going to be getting crazy good results here. Make sure you keep an eye in the upper left hand corner to see the balance of utilization across the parts and also to monitor the temperatures. Now, if you are interested in pushing some slightly higher FPS numbers than what we're about to see, to celebrate myself joining the Jawa team, which hopefully you've seen the announcement for already, I'm going to be working in as an advisor level position and also doing some direct contracting work for them. And to celebrate, they're giving away an EVGA RTX 3070 Ti, and it's super easy to enter. Head on down to the description for that giveaway entry link, and good luck to everyone trying to win the 3070 Ti. Also, instead of me talking and blabbing through the benchmarking run, today we're just gonna put on a casual playlist of music and watch Sam snipe some good headshots, and I'll see you guys after this quick benchmarking run.
Let me get it, let me put it down. One time for anybody out there following their dreams. Anybody in the city working through jobs so they can get to bigger, better things. You can't see that I was that I put in every day and night. Go to every trick or right, go to every bit of made just to hit them with the fade. When I stick it to the people that told me that I couldn't. Yeah. Ooh, we gonna make it. I kept my soul no matter how hard that they try to take it. Ooh, we gonna make it. Ooh, we gonna make it. Got that and not by my side. Ain't no way that you can fade it. Listen, you can't hold me down. 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 You can't hold me down.
And then real quickly, Sam did keep an eye on the CPU and GPU temperatures, and those results are on the screen now. Obviously, this isn't an elaborate cooling setup or anything, but those temperatures are definitely decent enough to not be worried about them. And also, if you are interested in spending a few more dollars and getting an honestly much better PC than this, then feel free to click the video that's on the screen now, and don't forget to enter that giveaway for the RTX 3070 Ti as well.